Hey everybody, welcome back to Craggy Brook Witchery. This is Lori, and I've laid out on my table here a whole bunch of decks that I'm grouping together as possibilities for working with the Fae folk. Spring is coming. I can feel it in the air. We had a light snow this morning, but I don't think it's going to last, and I want to be working more with the energies in nature. I don't know which deck I'm going to choose, which is why they're all out here. I was hoping for a tarot deck to be my choice, but I have brought in some oracle decks as well, and we'll just see where it goes. I don't want this to be a review. This is just showing you a few of the decks that I have, and we'll see where it goes and which one I end up choosing. I hope then to be able to cleanse the deck, really put some energy into it, maybe pull some stones that will go into a bag with it, and really pump up the energy into it and hope that my energy connects with it for really super readings through spring and summer. And so I'm going to start with a few here. You can see in the upper left corner the Wildwood Tarot. And I did write down publishers, authors, and illustrators to give them credit. I'm just going to go through a couple of the cards afterwards for each deck and maybe talk about how it makes me feel. So the first one, the Wildwood Tarot, that one is a combination with Mark Ryan and John Matthews, illustrated by Will Worthington, and its publisher is Sterling Ethos. So let's take a look at some of the cards. It does have quite a good book with it, and the illustrations and the colors are quite nice. You can see here, I'll get the glare away, that it is rich. It does have a lot of nature type colors, very strong images. There's the little bit of snow that we had today, melting. I'm just looking for things to draw me in that says, hey, let's spend some time with this deck. There's the wheel, one of the major arcanas. So I am drawn to the colors, I am drawn to the illustrations, and I know that the book will help me out a lot. So that is a tarot deck, very nature-based. It's a good possibility. We'll put that one back. Now this one, the Hush Tarot. Its book is a little bit less. And the cards, though, I really enjoyed. I'm just going to flip into the inside because I didn't write this one down. This is by Jeremy Hush, a really nice little booklet published by US Games. And so let's just take a little peek at those cards. Now my camera might be giving a little bit of a yellow tinge to things, but we'll see what we can do. Okay. There's really nice, fine, detailed drawings and a lot of symbolism in this one that I could maybe pick up clues and ideas because symbolism is important. I think that's why I like tarot so much. It has a system, and some of the symbols are locked in my mind. I don't know whether I'll find a horse in the woods, but a fairy horse, that would be kind of nifty. All right. And this last one. Okay. So we'll go on to the next one. Now this next one is a little bit different again. It is a fairy tarot. It has a very small book with it. So it's going to allow my intuition to run by itself. This one is by La Scarabeo with Antonio Lopatelli and art with Richard Doyle and Antonio together. So this one has some really rich colors. Brings in the birds, the fairy of the people. It's very playful, whimsical. Get that a little bit more focused. There we go. Maybe more of a scene where I can crawl into visually. And it is bringing out the acorns. Now that's the other thing I needed to mention with this deck. The symbols are a little bit different. So before I go on, I'll grab that because it does take some getting used to different systems. This one has the bells representing the coins, leaves are swords, acorns are wands, and hearts are cups. And the one that I've paired it with before is this one in the front here, the Gnome Tarot. I'm going to hold that one up a little bit so you can see it. Tarot of the Gnomes. Again, it's very whimsical, very fun. Now, the Tarot of the Gnomes is Antonio Lupitelli again as the artist. Giordano Berti is in there, and it's a Llewellyn publication. Now, its cards, not a lot of background and scenery, but it does have whimsy, color, and it reminds me of somewhat of the Gypsy Tarot decks or Gypsy Oracles. I do like this Death one. That is fantastic. And instead of a horse, our cavalier is riding a turkey, I guess. All right. So those two can be used together, the Gnome Tarot and this Fairy Tarot. Now I'll go along to the Pollyanna. All right, now that one, the one I'm about to show, is published by US Games, and the artist and writer, I believe, is Paulina Cassidy. Now, this is definitely going to stimulate the imagination. Lots of detail. And might force me to look a little deeper in the forest. Okay. Now, then put that one back there. Now this fairy oracle over here, this is the box for that one. Arthur Rackham and Jamie Elford. This has some intriguing look to the cards. It is a Lascarabeo deck, and the backs are quite nice. And then let's try and look at some of the cards. Okay. There's some of the things that in nature, if we take our time and look a little bit closer, we might see some things as well as our imagination and just taking in things, slowing down. So this might be a deck where I actually slow down. It's very artistic, and being an artist first, I might really enjoy these drawings. Okay. This is the Brian Froud deck, and I've seen a lot of reviews of this deck. It has a lot of things going on in the background. I've heard people say, I think it was Truth and Story, that she believes this fellow actually does see fairies. These are not all pretty fairies. There is a certain prettiness to some of them. But again, the background and the natural colors might lend itself for some exploration in the forest. Don't know if I want to meet this fellow, but this is the card of honesty. All right. Now, I didn't say, but it is the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and text is by Jessica Macbeth, and the publisher on that one is Fireside. Okay, now let's go on to one of my first decks that I picked up for working with fairies. I did enjoy it. I spent about a year with it before. It's written by Anna Franklin, illustrated by Paul Mason, and published by Llewellyn. And it's called Guide to the Fairy Ring. This one has a lot of folklore in the book, if I remember. It also reminds me of watching some of the videos right now from Ireland with the people that have walkabouts their property because they feel and they sense the fairies on their properties. Morgan Le Fay, some very strong characters, and again some old stories, tales. I find the borders on this a little bit distracting, but I realize that this has a system and it's trying to bring in the seasons. There's King Nud. Very peaceful deck. Okay. So then over here, this is a Fairy Wisdom deck. I don't think it was quite in the original span of pictures. This is put out by Gillian Kemp. Illustrations on this one are with Emma Garner, and Chico Books publishes it. This is just a little bit maybe young for the depth I'm hoping to work with in the forest, but there's nothing wrong with that. Connections. Come on, baby. You can focus. There you go. There's a lot of symbolism in this one, and I really liked the book that went along with this, and some of the spreads were quite neat. Number 1. And we'll pick one more. So the colors are fresh. It is a happy deck. We'll have to see. Now this one, the Fairy Guidance Oracle, in the top left corner there that you see the box and book for, it's another Paulina Cassidy deck put out by Llewellyn, and I believe I did trim these ones down a bit. Very nice. Again, some of the earthy colors there. They do have one word on each. We can stimulate the imagination. Don't have to pay attention to them if we don't want to. A lot of detail. Okay. And I guess that's about it. So I tend to like the deeper, richer colors. And I find that the Brian Froud one right now is sort of calling to me. I know his book is very good. Jessica Macbeth wrote. It's a very personal, approachable book. It does have a lot of spreads and ideas for reading in it as well. I think it would look nice in the forest on the floor, or if I found a log or something like that that I could do some spreads on. get me out in nature and get me quiet and seeing and feeling and sensing just a little bit deeper. So I think I might just go with this deck. So I'll let you know how I cleanse it. That might be another video that I can go into in depth with. The candles, the oils, everything I can do to supercharge it and get ready for working with it for the spring and the summer. And who knows, it might even take me into the fall. I hope I can really bond with it and share some of my experiences with you. And if you have a favorite fairy tarot deck or oracle deck, I'd love to hear about it. My intention, as I say, was to jump into tarot, but here I am once again looking at this one. There's just something about it. And as a secondary, I think I would take the Wildwood Tarot and see where that one leads me. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you again.